Hello again, and welcome back to Great Ace Attorney. In the last part, we found out that Dr. Wilson had a lovely little burn mark on his wrist, and we also proved that that burn mark came from the plate that that had the stake on it at the crime scene. But there are two weird things about this that I've thought about for the time that I've been voicing these parts. The first major thing wrong with this is that he wasn't eating it, so why was the plate on his side of the table, along with that glass? If Brett was the one that was eating the plate, then how did he get that burn on his wrist? He would have had to have gone over to her side of the table and slammed it down on there. Either that, or the plate was moved over to his seating position and then his wrist was slammed down on there. And the other thing was the fact that he did not scream out in pain, which is the thing that we're talking about right now. And the only way that's possible is if he was already dead when he received that burn. There's also the fact that he would have, that his chair was turned around, and that's where he was sitting. But I don't think that was his chair. I think that was probably the woman's chair, Brett. I think it's probably Brett's chair that he is sitting in when his body is found. But I don't know why. We will figure that out starting right now. So, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order! Please, counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts. So, this actually, I didn't think of this, but this actually comes into play here. If I forget that the way that the autopsy is done, it's just a visible thing. There's no internal autopsy done. It's possible that he could have been poisoned. It's very possible that he could have been poisoned or something of the like and died that way, and then she shot his body after he was already dead. And when that happened, his arm fell forward. He got the burn mark on his wrist, and then she tampered with the crime scene while we were being taken to the pantry. The waiter, because that's what the waiter did. The waiter grabbed us and took us to the pantry and locked us in there. So during that time period, she could have tampered with the table and made it look like things were different. I mean, she probably rotated the chair around specifically for that notion because she wanted it to make it look like we had shot him in the chest because we were on the backside of him when he got shot. Interesting. So yeah, that might be why. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts. Objection! No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency! The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. She's just grinning like a Cheshire cat over there. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Oh, you can speak Japanese. Ah, Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? Well, oh, I'm not mixing dialects here. That is not happening. Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country, after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Oh, so you're racist. That's nice. There's blatant racism, sure. That'll win you over with the court. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. I mean, they definitely don't possess the murderous intent of English gentlewomen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well... You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. Dude, just fucking... We get it. You're a sub. Lay off it. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Hope the air conditioner in the background isn't too loud. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. I don't think you want that to be. I hope this is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. That's all you're doing, you fucking bitch. Not at all. Not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. Go fuck yourself. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has transpired here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Sure, I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Okay. Ooh. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo, and I'm fine. Yes, Your Excellency. And you may proceed with the cross-examination. The victim's death. Alright. Let's see.
Yes!
Alright. But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! Really? Really, Ryunosuke? Haha, what fun! You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right! As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
Well, I can't. Anyway. I don't know what bearing this would have on it, but we'll see. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water. Is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember, which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although... although? Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. Ah, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of the court and the others, it means bless you. Oh my god. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible causes of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there was no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn mark must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Aochi is right.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace?
If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Taketsuchi Aochi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here.
Yes, evidence. I feel like I could possibly present this photo and then point at the glass and say he was poisoned, but I don't know if that's right or not. But we'll try it.
Yes!
That is not correct. The statement is clearly odd.
What appears to be odd is the way you're presenting yourself.
Oh, pay no attention, Your Excellency.
As you wish. Now kindly lower your head.
Never. Not until I've proven that I'm innocent here. Alright. Well, we'll press this one last thing. Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Oh, what the hell is that? It's the shit from, Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, where it's like the other witness on the stand has a thought.
It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand.
Haha, a killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aochi is finally starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that.
Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
What do you think, Ryunosuke?
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over.
But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor.
Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if I might present an opening maybe. Or if it might present an opening maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
Yes!
Just skipping through this stuff.
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, the person actually making the current statements. By moving the marker left and right with the D-pad, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across and focus on the detective, then pursue and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Wait.
Okay, so it does work with the stick too.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. I like that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. Really was lost in his thoughts deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court. What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement made by Miss Brett? I don't know, do you? Do you, Hosonaga? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady's right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain.
Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done.
A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there.
Take this, for example.
Is that?
This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says.
Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it.
One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. Well, hate to break it to you, buddy. But you got gumshoe on the case. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Miss Barrett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem! The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? Well, I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. What have we got? So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Oh, there goes the rotating stuff. So it says, am I supposed to present the bottle on this statement? I don't know exactly how that's supposed to contradict anything, but we'll see.
Yes!
That's it. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done it. Giselle Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous, to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? We get it, you're old. Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ahem, if I may.
I will silence you forever for this disgraceful Oh, wow. Shut up.
It is you who should be silent. Of course.
Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. This bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. You did?
Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already?
I strive for a flawless investigation on every time. Every time, not on every time. I don't believe it!
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And? What did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time.
We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure?
The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself.
No. No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. It hasn't, actually, because she doesn't have to poison the bottle in order to have poisoned him. She could have poisoned the glass, and she did take a glass with her. She took a glass with her. She didn't... we don't know if it was her glass or whether it was his glass. I honestly think that it was probably his glass. I mean, the place where he was actually sitting on the side that the plate was. And that should have been the side that she was sitting at, if I'm not mistaken. In which case, the glass that was taken was his. In which case, that glass could have trace amounts of poison in it. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point?
Kazuma,
closed lip. I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Who? Oh, it's the girl!
Please, wait!
Isn't that? What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. To be continued. And that's where we will leave it off today. I don't know what's in her package that she's brought with her to the court to help us, but I do like the voice that they gave her for the game, and I like doing that voice, so looking forward to proving our innocence next time. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you then.